It never ceases to amaze me how far Democrats will go to retain power, from banning voter ID, calling it racist, to giving our hard-earned tax money to all of these illegals flooding the country because of Kamala Harris. They will do anything to win. You know it, I know it. On Wednesday of this week, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announced he's cutting interest rates. They usually only cut interest rates if things are getting bad. So I want to go through some of these important topics. To do that, I have a special guest with me, Ross Givens. He's started insider trading. He's been doing this for decades. And I want to go through this. Ross, thank you so much for joining me again today.
Hey, my pleasure, Stephen.
So before we jump into this, there's a bombshell story out that I want to go through. And then I want to talk about how these politicians are making so much money in the stock market based on insider trading, and how we can do that ourselves. But let me run this clip and we'll react to it together.
What were you saying about these 5 assassination teams?
We are aware of at least 5 teams in country that are geared toward killing Trump. And I think, 3 of them that we know are foreign in nature. 2 of them we know are domestic in nature. And that calls for a force protection that we do not have around the former president right now.
Okay, who were you talking to that talked about
this?
A
senior Department of Homeland Security official met with me, said they were aware of this and were concerned that the Secret Service was not providing sufficient support.
Was this like a hearing, or was this like in your office?
In my office.
This conversation. Okay. Now listen, Congressman, I'm just a guy here. I don't know things. Why are these people? What do we do? Why are we just having assassination teams walking around?
Well, one reason is because when they entered the country, there was insufficient scrutiny to stop them from doing so. Right? I mean, the 3 of these teams are foreign inspired, from my understanding.
Okay, so this is huge. Department of Homeland Security is aware of at least 5 teams. 3 of them are foreign, 2 are domestic. They've come into the country illegally with the sole purpose of assassinating Donald Trump. What are your thoughts when you hear this stuff?
Well, the deep state's still in full effect. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, Trump is the JFK of our generation. I mean, if you look back, honestly, JFK was a Democrat. Not by today's standards. By today's standards, he's a very conservative Republican. And he was the only president who came in, spoke for the people, said, I don't want all these secrets. I'm going to shut down the CIA. I'm going to work for the people. Why win in a landslide? And a lot of the evidence points to inside situation on him. So I think Trump's very similar to that. I'm not surprised. I hate it, but listen, the people in power have shown they'll do whatever it takes to stay in power. And I think that includes assassinating a former president, unfortunately.
Yeah, they'll enrich themselves off of insider trading. They'll dumb down, water down Secret Service, putting Trump's life at risk. Then they call him Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. Then when he gets shot, they go, oh, our prayers and thoughts are with you. It's like, It's just gross. It's gross to watch. That was a breaking bombshell story this weekend that I wanted to share with you. One thing that I want to understand, we've got Jerome Powell making big changes at the Federal Reserve, but is inflation coming down, or is this a desperate move to bury Bidenomics, make Kamalanomics look good as she destroys the country? Because I'm just seeing my life is still very expensive. So when she says that she's working on it and how much they've done, I'm like, give me some examples, lady, because my life is still expensive. Is this true?
Yeah, no, it's definitely the latter. I mean, by no metric, are Americans doing better today than they were 4 years ago. The cost of living in the U.S. has nearly doubled since Trump left office. And that's literally, I mean, look at what does it cost you? A house, food, a job, all these things. It's doubled. Housing's unaffordable. Cost of cars, insurance, groceries through the roof. Now, the interest rate cut, in my opinion, is a Hail Mary attempt to trick the American public, make it look like the economy is strong. What they're doing is putting lipstick on a pig and telling us it's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Washington D.C. is so slick with their words. That's exactly what it is, lipstick on a pig. One of the reasons I like having you come on is you and your staff. You guys do in-depth research every single day about the economy, how the wars are going to affect us, what members of Congress are doing to make money. You guys have your pulse. You have a pulse of what's really going on.
Sure.
And you guys are always sniffing out what these politicians are doing, the stocks they're buying, the insider trading information. More importantly, you show people how to piggyback on that. I know you guys have an event coming up. You do this about every 6 weeks. When is that event? Just give me the brief details really quickly.
Yeah, well, we're doing another one of the free training events. We did one for your viewers a few months back, and it filled up. We had a lot of great feedback. So it's going to be Wednesday, September 25, 3 p.m. Eastern, online, live, free to attend. And we'll show people how to do this, how to exploit this loophole, how to follow the stock trades of these politicians and essentially take their advantage and use it for yourself.
Okay. President Trump said this week that, in his opinion, cutting these interest rates means the economy is not doing as well as Kamala Harris has been saying. How is this? How does this really work? And how is this a trick to trick the American people that the economy is doing better than it really is?
Well, cutting or raising interest rates is the only tool the Federal Reserve has. And he's totally right. Like when things are getting bad and let's stimulate the economy, they cut rates. People borrow more, they spend more, they put more cash into it. When, I don't know, say they print $2 trillion and cause record inflation, well, then they raise interest rates. We'll stop spending and stop borrowing and try to bring it down. But I mean, look, Stephen, I live in Mississippi. Okay. I'm building a house, in South Alabama. These are two of the least expensive areas in the country. And I can assure you, nothing is getting cheaper. If I built this house when Trump was in office just a couple of years ago, it would have cost me $500,000 less. What Kamala is doing is what that administration always has, and that is whatever it takes to buy votes. Biden violated the Constitution to pass student loan forgiveness. They've imported illegals to not only illegally vote, but what they're really doing is manipulating the census data, because we look at census to determine how many members you get in the House of Representatives for each state. It's not based on the number of citizens, it's based on the number of heartbeats. So that's another way they're trying to stack Congress to the blue side. And yes, cutting interest rates, it's just a trick, right? It makes housing look cheaper since the mortgage payment goes down. But she knows she destroyed the economy. Now she's trying to give $25,000 to first-time home buyers. Tell me, where's that money coming from? I'll tell you where it's coming from, Stephen. It's coming from you. It's coming from me. It's coming from everyone watching this video who works hard, pays their taxes, and does not live on government handouts. That's who she's stealing from, because we are the people that are not voting for her. She doesn't care what happens to us.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I mean, she won't be doing anything if the government shuts down. Congress every year says, we're going to get these bills in line. We're going to be prepared this time. And then every September, there's this mad dash to get a continuing resolution bill out before the government shuts down on October 1st. And you see the Democrats put in all of these poison pills and take out all of the good bills until they get things done. And Republicans brought a solution to the House this week, but it didn't pass. And every Democrat but 3 voted against it, right?
Yeah, because
they
the
don't
SAVE
want
Act.
these bills.
Because the SAVE Act, right? Yeah, and that's something, they attached it to it, right? So if you're not familiar, the SAVE Act is that bill that would require proof of citizenship to vote. So Republicans, and this is something they do a lot, they attach it to one of these spending bills. So it's like, okay, you want to spend like a couple drunken sailors? Fine, but you're going to pass this. This is going to be with it. So Democrats refused, of course, because how dare someone, Steve, have to show their ID in order to vote? That's crazy, right? You should only need your ID to buy alcohol, cigarettes, open a bank account, apply for food stamps, receive welfare, Medicaid, Social Security, unemployment. You have to show an ID to rent an apartment, to buy a house, to rent or buy a car, to drive a car, to get on an airplane, to buy a gun, to adopt a pet, to rent a hotel room. I mean, ID, according to them, should only be required for these very serious things like buying a cell phone, going to a casino, getting a prescription, donating blood, buying a freaking M-rated video game. You have to have an ID to buy nail polish at CVS, Stephen, but they don't think you should have to require it to vote. I mean, it is insanity.
Yeah, it really is. I think the United States is the only country that doesn't require voter ID. All these other countries have gotten rid of mail-in ballots because they found cheating. I promise you, if illegal immigrants voted Republican, it would be required to vote immediately.
Oh,
right?
of course it would. Absolutely. Yeah, my favorite argument on the voter ID is this idea that it is racist somehow to require voter ID. Like, really? That's racist? Because if you ask me, it seems like the racist thing is for you to sit there and say that blacks and minorities are too dumb to get an ID. That seems like the racist argument. But look, this is what they do. Anything to stay wealthy and stay in power. They rejected the SAVE Act and the spending bill just like they did the Pelosi Act. That was the one Holly introduced to try to prevent that insider trading you mentioned by members of Congress. Pelosi and her cronies shut it down immediately.
Oh, yeah, of course, because how do you get a net worth of almost $200 million being a public servant, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I know, I know you and I have talked a lot about this before. We had dinner together a few weeks ago, and you were telling me how much money politicians made on these insider trades. I don't think people really understand just how prolific this scheme is of using information they get in order to enrich their family.
Well, that's the dirty secret. That's how they make most of their money. Like you said, I mean, the congressional salary is what, 180 grand, 185, something like that. These people are worth tens of millions. It does not add up. It does not add up unless, of course, you take the time to go through all of their congressional stock trades, which my team and I have. And these are not like coincidental trades. Or maybe it was related to that. Stephen, these are blatant insider trading violations. I mean, you had Cindy Axne in the House of Representatives who was trading Wells Fargo while sitting on the Financial Services Committee investigating Wells Fargo. Earl Blumenauer was buying defense stocks within hours of Russia invading Ukraine. Catherine Clark bought this little stock called Hollow Logic back when COVID started. A week later, it gets this 9 or 10 figure COVID-19 testing contract. Stephen, she is literally on the committee that awarded that funding. Pat Fallon's that are buying Microsoft stock right before the government gave him a $10 billion cloud computing contract with the Pentagon. Then they cancel the contract, but not before he sells the stock. And of course, Pelosi, we don't have to go into that. Like you said, 150, 160 million she's made since taking office. So it's really blatant. It's really obvious. And it's like the worst kept secret, I think, in DC.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I like that you guys do is you track this same data, right? Like they get it, they use it. Like your people aren't cheating. They're not sitting in those rooms. But if these guys are going to make moves that are publicly disclosed, then why not piggyback on that and make money, like level the playing field?
Yeah, 100%. And look, you're not going to stop corruption. I mean, let's not pretend we live in a dream world, right? You could get rid of every single member of Congress today. I guarantee you the new guys will be doing the same thing in a year or two. So look, if you can't beat them, join them. Right? Why should they make all the money? They're the ones supposed to be working for us. And as you said, there is nothing illegal about what we're doing. In my opinion, it's patriotic. We're simply leveling the playing field for the everyday American investor. We are using their unfair advantage to benefit ourselves. And so that's why we hold these free training sessions. I wish I could do one every day, but we do them every couple of months to just show people how to do this themselves, how to find information, how to profit alongside these people 100% legally and ethically.
Yeah. I think the thing that bothers me the most, Ross, it bothers me that they're doing insider trading, right? But even if they use it, what's the fine if they get caught? Like $150?
$200.
$200. Okay, so like a couple of months ago, Nancy and Paul Pelosi just happened to use inside information to make about $5 million in 1 month. And if for some reason she gets this ethics violation, $200. Like, really, $200 to make $5 million.
Yeah.
Like it's insanity.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's the Stock Act, right? And you're right. That's the violation, $200. Now, they've pretended to propose new laws that will restrict this, and we're going to ban this once and for all. But they're full of loopholes like all the other ones. I think the most recent said, what is the fine? Like a percentage of the gain you make, which is crazy. It's like you're just saying you're going to charge me a commission to use the insider information. Like, we've seen they're supposed to report their trades in like 45 days. Some of them like 2 years, 3 years later, because
if it benefits the government and it's a small fine, then the government is in on the insider trading too.
I think so.
Right? Like if they can take a percentage of that. What about I think the thing that intrigues me more is these CEOs, right? So you have the C-level executives. Let's just say like an IT company. Well, let's use like a pharmaceutical company, for example.
Sure.
They come up with some cure for blindness or blood disease or something, and they know that those results look really good. They go in, they start putting their own money up, buying their stock. Your system sees this, and you go, okay, wait a minute. Why is a CEO suddenly buying 7 million shares of their own stock out of nowhere, and a green flag goes up for you? How quickly do the CEOs, CFOs, CPAs, the people that have this information, how long do they have till they have to disclose that?
Well, first of all, Stephen, I think you just summarized my entire investment strategy. It's taken 10 years in about 10 seconds. So yeah, that really is it. Time frame, 2 days. Yeah, they have to report almost immediately, and most of them do it sooner. But you're right, the C-level executives, believe it or not, they do even better than Congress. And, Congress has information. Pelosi knows about the government contract going out. They knew they were going to shut down COVID, but pharmaceutical stock, perfect example. I mean, if you've got a cure to blindness, as you mentioned, that's worth tens of hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Once it's found out about. But right now, it's hiding. They don't know. And when that becomes public, that stock is going to go 10, 20, 30, 50-fold higher. We actually did one just like that in January. We actually gave it to your members who registered for the last event. The company was Perspective Therapeutics, little biotech, early stage, just working on all this stuff. And they were in the middle of stage 2 clinical drug trials for their leading candidates. So those go well, that stock's going to show promise. So they'll FDA approval. It'll make them billions. Stocks will go to the moon. If they go poorly, that company's probably going bankrupt. So that's the most valuable piece of information you could have. And like you said, we saw not only the CEO buying, we saw the chief financial officer buying. We saw 2 vice presidents buying. We saw 3 members of the board of directors buying. We saw the chief medical officer putting 60% of their annual salary in the stock. Now, Stephen, you tell me, we're sitting there in the middle of stage 2 trials, waiting to hear it's going to be. The guy running those drug trials puts hundreds of thousands of dollars into his company's stock at all-time highs. Like, you don't have to be Inspector Gadget to figure out things are probably going pretty well. So it really is that simple. We recommended it to our members. It went up 345% in 4 months, quadrupled their money from one stock. So you summed it up perfectly. These are the opportunities we're looking for, whether it's politicians, whether it's corporate insiders, people who have access to better information that can move stock prices significantly. We just follow their money. I don't care what you say. What are you doing with your money? What are you doing with you and your wife or husband's life savings? If you're putting it all into this stock right now before this big news comes out, odds are it's going well. And that's what we've used. We've had a lot of success with it.
Yeah. Well, it bugs me because like Speaker Mike Johnson pushes to attach the SAVE Act, and then it gets one round of voting pushback, and now he's pulling it. Oh, we don't want to be the people that shut down the government. We got to push it through. And Democrats go, it worked again. Like we literally just, we vote no, and then we get our way. So like, what is the point of Republicans having the majority if Democrats always get their way? It's like losing by winning. It's so stupid. It makes me crazy. So they're not going to get the SAVE Act through, and then they refuse to put up the Pelosi Act because they're not going to vote against their own interests. They're not going to vote to take away their insider trading power.
No, that's why they make all their money. Of course not. Yeah, look, it's unfortunate. I mean, it is an absolute clown show in DC. We are no longer run by our best and brightest as we were 200 years ago. We're run by some of the lower intelligence people out there, a lot of corrupt people, and it's just a game. You know, they tell people, "Oh, Republicans want to shut the government down," or you know, Trump. It's just these little sound clips and soundboards, and people vote on them. So it's. I don't know how it's going to get better. In my opinion, I think the republic might be broken. I mean, I think we're getting to a point where we might say, look, it was a great experiment. Let's cut this thing in half. You want to have blue hair and immigrants and give all your money away and let kids change their sex? Go ahead, go live over here. Everybody with sanity that wants to work hard and take care of yourself and your family and, you know, come live over here. And you can guess what the results are going to be. But I hope we don't get to that. I'd love sanity to come back. But in the meantime, look, they're going to spend like crazy. They're going to drive home prices up. So all I know to do is make more and more and more money to get there. And so this is, in my opinion, the biggest loophole to do so, the easiest way to do it. We make it really easy for our members. We give them 3, 4, 5 stocks a month, all the research, buy here, sell here. We've been doing it since 2017, Stephen. We've never had a losing year. Our stock portfolio is up over 1,900% since inception. So 20-fold in the last 6-7 years. So we know this works. And I'm doing everything I can to get this out to people, show them how to do it. Like you said, level the playing field. And so we're doing these training events. The next one is this Wednesday, September 25, 3:00 Eastern. It is online. It's free to attend, and I show people everything, you know, how to access the database. You can find these trades, what to look for, what our biggest winners had to come in, all of it. And so I encourage people to attend. One other thing, it's funny you mentioned a pharmaceutical stock, because one thing we like to do with this, we send all of our research on our newest pick to everyone who registers. So everybody who registers in that link below this video, even if you can't attend, I encourage you to do that, because we're going to send you the full report on our newest pick. And this one is really exciting. It is a $3 pharmaceutical stock. Has everything in common. Like the last one did over 300%. I think this one could do even better. So we've seen big movement on these, and I hope people take advantage and profit alongside us. But yeah, click the link, register. It's like name, email, phone number. We'll text you a reminder. And you've seen it. I think it's eye-opening when people come to these.
The report you guys sent me was like a hotel chain, and it was very, very well researched. When is that event again? When's this coming Wednesday?
Yep, this Wednesday, September 25, 3:00 Eastern.
Okay, I'll make sure to put a link down below. Thank you so much for coming on, all of the research you do, sharing this information with my community. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Stephen. Good talking with you.